All right, here we are, the Mike and Dave Mind Makeover Show. I'm Dave, and we have...
I am Mike.
Fantastic.
I'm excited to be here.
All right, so here we are for episode 3. Welcome to all of you who are here with us live on the live show, and to any of you reviewing the replay, welcome as well. Unfortunately, on the replay, you're not going to have the ability to see the stats in the chat board or use the chat board, but you will be able to connect with us and interact with us through our email, which we'll be giving you shortly as well. For those of you that are live on the call right now, make use of the chat. We'd love to see, we will see the chats, okay? The chat box is enabled for the presenters to see, so feel free to go ahead and interact on the chat board. If you are experiencing any challenges, any issues with the technology, because this is what's been going on in the past. We have had a couple of weeks of technological challenges. So if there's anything going on, we want to know early on. All right, we want to know early on. So let us know what it looks like to you guys. Let us know if we're sounding okay. Also, for the content, feel free to talk to us, challenge us, ask us questions, make suggestions, anything you like. Go ahead and chat with us as if you were live on the air with us, all right? We welcome that. We want the interaction with us. Mike, I'll let you do a few little housekeeping points for us for the show.
Yeah, so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're present as we're going through this. Again, all of us have a purpose in our lives, and we're grateful that you're taking the time, the opportunity to make sure that you're getting everything that you can from this, take the takeaways. So be present, you know, try to stay away from the what we're sharing. You know, you hear with your so as we're communicating our messages, sharing our ideas, book and quote of the week, like we did our last time. And tonight we're going to be talking about the pressure to perform, so I'm excited about talking about that. And just be present. Really focus and pay attention. Really listen, get emotional about what we have to say. And you'll be happy that you did, because I'm sure you're going to get some good info from it. So that's what I have as far as the initial steps. I'm excited to get the mind.
Absolutely. All right, so every time we do an episode, we're going to very briefly go over a little bit about who we are and what we're doing and why we're doing this. So I think the first thing, let's talk about Mind Makeover. That's what we're publishing ourselves as doing and getting involved in. And I think that the biggest thing for people to remember and to understand, anybody who's listening, is a mind makeover, right, is a concept that we came up with because just to give the analogy, you know, there's all those makeover shows, makeover programs, makeover ideas.
Home makeover show, you have the, you know, big over and their weight, and they're making people over with they're making people's homes over, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly. So what we want to do is we want to start doing mind makeovers for people. And we do have some plans and ideas for the future of what we're going to evolve into. But for right now, we're just going to deliver content. We're just going to deliver value and share of ourselves every single week. We're going to come up with topics. We're going to have our little platform or an agenda that we have in our show. And we just want to give. We just want to give back, because we know that by sharing what we know and what we've experienced, we are going to benefit from that as well, because by teaching, we're actually learning more as well. So it's give and take. We want your guys' contributions, and that's why we're doing this. So for now, the mind makeover it's always going to be a process. It's a process over time where you're making over how you think and when you make over what you think, you're really making over what you're going to be doing as well. So that's what we're all about. Michael, he has an extensive background. I'm doing this on the fly, guys. I'm going to do Mike's intro, and he's going to do mine. He doesn't know that. I just made that up. So, Mr. Michael Cooper, because it's fun. We can do it. We can do this. So I'm a little afraid of what he's going to do to me later, but that's okay. So Mr. Michael Cooper, I met him a couple of years ago in Italy. We were both on a Napoleon Hill leadership training certification course. A world-class, amazing personal development organization, obviously Napoleon Hill Foundation. And we were on the same course. So we hit it off and we have a like mindset. But Michael has been in this space for many, many years. He's been studying the principles of success for well over 20 years, extremely well-versed in the information that comes out of Napoleon Hill information, but also many, many other world thought leaders. And he's been a coach to elite athletes, both at the junior and professional level for many years. He actually developed his very own program called the Missing Playbook, which is absolutely amazing. And it's growing, and there's going to be some big things. So Mike is a guy who really knows what he's talking about. And when we get in our conversations, I love learning from Michael. So that's Michael. Your turn.
Yeah. So that when you talk about, so that's the Canadian in you.
Yes, that's
talk about. Well, that's the only thing I really have to share about you is that, you know, you talk like that. So we can move on now into our topic about you. But Dave is a fantastic individual. You know, like you said, we met a couple years ago, and everything about, you know, the experience that I've had with Dave has just been remarkable. Became immediate friend, business owner. He's an entrepreneur. He's a thinker, a leader, a parent, you know, a friend, a coach. He's just got his hands in a lot of different things in this world that everything he touches turns to gold. So when I had the opportunity to team up with him and we talked about doing this, and we know that, you know, it's entertaining to grow. Everyone's going through different experiences, but if you ever have an opportunity to get to run into him or see him in person or talk to him or just hang out with him for a while, he's a lot of fun. You know, we have a lot of fun when we're communicating and talking with each other. And that's all I have for you. You're gonna have to write a bio for me if you really want me to talk more about you, because I think I'm done with you.
That was fantastic. I'm blushing. All right. So now that we're done saying nice things about each other, we can carry on with the show. All right. So we've talked about the chat board. We are getting messages. Thank you guys for the feedback. We do understand that we are getting a little bit of cutting in and out from Mike's side. Last week we were both in exactly the same position and we didn't have that. So we're going to continue to work on that. But we are definitely getting most of what you're saying, Mike, and it sounds, you know, great, especially when you're talking about me. So maybe you should do more of that. But other than that, I'm going to type in the email address to the chat, and our email address for the replay viewers is, so write this down, Mike and Dave's MM. Okay, so Mike and Dave's MM at gmail.com. All right, so that's our email address. If you would like to reply or send us an email with some feedback, some questions, some ideas for topics that you'd like covered, or even if it's just a personal thing that you want us to answer for you, we're fine with that. Send us an email and we will reply. All right. I think that's it. So we're going to get right into the meat here. We're going to start talking about our topic of the week. And this week is, Michael?
How to perform under pressure, baby. You know, so a lot of people have a hard time. You know, I deal with this when as well as senior level executives, top professionals, and just people from all walks of life. And we have to perform with our relationships. We need to perform with our health. We need to perform in our financial. There's this pressure to perform And it's really difficult for people to maintain day, and staying positive when we feel this pressure to perform. Maybe I lost you. So I don't hear Dave, and maybe I lost him. So
you're all
talking about. All right. So when we're talking about this pressure to perform, why is it that so many people have a hard time maintaining levels of motivation when they have to perform? So, when we're performing in the workspace, we are all, as people are paying attention to what we're doing, and we want to impress people, right? I think a lot of people are looking for acceptance and approval from people. Why is that? I'm gonna just. So I don't know if you're hearing me right now.
You cut out right at the end. So were you asking me?
So what I was saying is, I was asking you, why is it, why is it that so many people out there are looking for acceptance and approval? Okay, so like kids want acceptance and approval from their parents, and workers want acceptance and approval from their leaders, and boyfriends want and husbands want acceptance and approval from their mates. Why is this? Why are we all looking for this acceptance and approval?
Well, I think it's part of the human condition. We're human beings, and we need that emotion, that love, that attachment, knowing that. I don't know. Is that what you're looking for?
The one thing, like when I'm talking. Okay, what most of us want is support and encouragement. Okay, you don't need acceptance and approval from anybody but who?
Anyone but myself.
That's right. So all you need is acceptance and approval of yourself. If you accept and approve of what you're doing with your life, which all goes back to what you and I, have studied and what we learn and teach, which is, this definiteness of purpose, having a burning desire. I'm coaching and speaking and teaching. And can you hear me okay? You still getting me okay, Dave?
Yeah, you are cutting out here and there, but we're getting the gist of it, yeah.
Okay, so I approve of what I do. So I don't need acceptance and approval from anybody else. But the pressure, when we start to feel this pressure, it's because everyone has expectation. And we start to, get this pressure. When you feel pressure, let me ask you this, like, how do you make a
diamond? Is that what you said?
How do you make a diamond?
The diamond is created from a piece of coal under extreme pressure.
That's right.
Over a long period of time. And that, ugly little piece of black coal turns into a beautiful shining diamond.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of people who, women love diamonds, men love buying diamonds for their. That block of coal initially has no meaning whatsoever, except the meaning we give it, and then you create this diamond. So when you start to think of it that way, each and every single one of us has a diamond inside of us, and you start to feel this pressure. You have to maintain this motivation. You have through this pressure, there's a diamond, there's a gem in there that's just waiting to come out. But if I start to run away when I feel this pressure and get all stressed out and allow that stress to cause me to distract away from what it is and I'm trying to create, this gem, this diamond, then look at it this way, like stress comes on in the car. So when you start to feel this stress, a lot of people, what they do is they start to talk. have stress at home, I have stress with the kids, and I have stress and create worry and fears and doubts. It just attracts more of that to us. And instead of understanding that when we start to feel stress, when we feel this pressure, right? We have this pressure and we start to feel this stress that's coming on from the pressure. I can look at that as a positive thing. So stress to me is positive because I do not allow myself to continue to keep getting stressed out and thinking about the negative things and getting into the spiral thoughts that are bad about it. So as soon as I start to feel pressure, as soon as I start to get a little stressed out about something, I immediately tell myself, I need to pay attention to that stress indicator because it's telling me I have to pay attention. I need to be stressed. I have the ability to do that. Then I will eliminate stress. I will focus on solutions. Okay, what are the solutions? But most people want to agonize and just start to, again, spiral out of control. So you understand what I'm talking about? Does that happen to you or know people that happens to?
I imagine that happens to probably everyone, and it's interesting that we're talking about this right now at this moment because I'm in that situation actually right now in one of my businesses. It is a very, very stressful time due to a lot of outside factors. I'm on a daily basis, I'm finding myself going through exactly what you're talking about and recognizing that when it feels almost like panic, that you just got to shake your head, take a breath, and really think about it for a moment and say, okay, so this is what I've been doing, and this is what I've learned to how to deal with stress is, taking that breath and taking that moment to recognize it, but then basically put myself in a situation where, sorry, I lost my train of thought. My dog's here.
I think a lot of, and I know that there's in the if they're hearing me with what I'm trying to explain, can you hear me clearly right now?
Yeah, you're okay.
Yeah. So I think that we have confirmed for everybody that can hear. See, we're getting pressure right now to perform through this technology. So the technology is putting pressure on us because we've been trying to tweak all these little bugs out so that way people can hear these messages and we can have a clear connection to our audience. But what's fun about this is that we're just starting this whole process and we're learning new ways and figuring things out. So like we can totally get stressed out, because I'm seeing individuals in the chat box that are sharing how it's difficult to hear my audio. I don't know if any of you out there are hearing me clearly right now. Post that into the chat box so I know. But because I certainly want you to be able to hear me. But this is the pressure to perform under these circumstances over the last couple of weeks with the technology. With this, why is this happening? What do we got to do? We tried to do the calls and the call lines last time, but it created a horrible echo. But we just stay calm and relaxed and focused on good. You make it mean something bad. It's a choice. So I make this pressure that I go through to perform, I make it mean something good. I adapt to it though. I adapt and I allow myself to get would total and punch that gets them out of control emotionally. And and we're dealing with this technique through it. Just walk yourself through it, stay on course, and eventually you're going to get to the promised land. But a lot of people can't do that, so, but the way that we can maintain levels of motivation is we start to get clear on what our purpose, vision, and goals are. So when I know exactly what I want in my life, and I'm really focused on working on that on a regular basis, that is what is going to motivate me to drive through the pressure different areas of your life to perform at a high level. But distractions that are disguised as opportunities, right? So I'm sure you deal with lots of distractions disguised as opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. And that actually comes right back to through every, through every adversity comes the equal comes the seed of greater benefit, right? Directly from Napoleon Hill. So from every adversity, there comes the opportunity for a seed of equal or greater benefit. So it's recognizing that through that adversity, through that negative experience or bad experience or challenge, that you're seeing that you're looking for that seed which could potentially propel you from that learning experience into something much, much bigger. There's always that silver lining, if you will. If you're open to it and looking for it, you can find it.
Yeah. Well, I think we have a lot of the pressure comes from dealing with teammates or coaches or bosses, dealing with travel, with business and vision of career. There's just so many different things that we go through in our lives. We live in like this big temptation island where we're constantly being tempted to all different areas, and it applies pressure. We start to feel this pressure. We get peer pressure, from for us to freak out and get overwhelmed. And we talked about this on one of our shows where we were talking about managing activities. Pressure, oh my God, I got to get tonight, or I'm going to get the pressure. Some people don't do activities properly, and then you also understand that there's 24 hours in a day, and I kind of got away from the 12-hour day, 9 to 5. I haven't worked a 9 to 5 in over a decade. But then I started getting into like the military time, right? Like the 24 hours. I had 24 hours in the day to do whatever I want, But then at some point the game is going to be over, right? I don't know when that's going to be tonight, but eventually that's going to be game over. I think it's to know that, all right, I know I want to work out because I can feel pressure to perform to maintain good health. Well, just relax. You have plenty of time to exercise. You'll go for a walk. Some risk because I'm so tired and I just feel pressure that if I don't get hours of sleep, then I'm not going to be able to function. How many times we hear that? We just have to relax and know that no matter how much you try to empty your inbox every day, let's just say you fall asleep at 12 o'clock at night or you fall asleep at 9 o'clock in the evening, whenever you do wake up, the inbox is going to be full again. So what type of experiences are you dealing with? Let's just say like pressure to perform, and they're down, they're depressed, they don't really have motivation to do much of anything. What's the cause of that?
A lot of times it's external things, right? I mean, you talk about pressure, but a lot of times it's outside forces that are, it's not even what's going on within the person, right? So they feel like they've got all these responsibilities, or you know, they don't want to let people down, for example, or something like that, right? So a lot of times it feels like those kind of stresses are coming from outside and piling up. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, we're definitely going to see, we have like these antennas that are hardwired into our conscious mind. And we pick up on lots of thoughts, ideas, and images from outside of us that certainly have an influence on us subconsciously, you know, which is our reason, which is our, not our reasoning mind, I'm sorry, our emotional mind, to whatever it is we're inside out. So we can certainly play the victim. We're going to continue to experience chaos, suffering, and pain. So if we want to have, you hearing me okay? Or I'm cutting out more.
Yeah, you seem to be cutting out a little bit more now.
Okay. What about now? Can you hear me clearer now? Is it better?
It's in and out.
In and out?
But I want to, if you don't mind, I'll add something that I was going to talk about before when I buckled under the pressure there earlier.
Go ahead.
One of the biggest things is when I get into those moments, and it's funny because when you have a really crazy day, right, and you've got all these things coming at you, and then it gets to be bedtime, and then your mind really starts spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning, and you're thinking about all these things, and those are the times especially when I really have to wake myself up and say, okay, what is worrying about this stuff at this exact moment in time? How is that going to benefit me, right? How is that going to benefit me right now? It's not, because whatever's going on probably is not going to change between 11 at night or midnight until I get up in the morning. So worrying and stressing and freaking out and panicking about it is absolutely pointless. And even during the day, when stuff is actually, people are awake and stuff's happening, it's still pointless. There's a lot of quotes out there and about worrying and how pointless worrying is. And Napoleon Hill talks about it a lot too. The state of worry is a negative emotion, but it's also a very pointless exercise. It's such a pointless exercise because whatever it is that's going on is still going on. Whether you're worrying about it or not worrying about it, it's still going on. So you might as well be in a state where you're not freaking out, not worrying, and then you're more calm, like you said, right? Just relax. And so you're more calm and you're better able to deal with the stuff that's going on, because your state of mind is not helping you if you're in that panic mode, right?
Yeah, a lot of the pressure is coming from, and you just let me know if you can hear me okay. A lot of that pressure is coming from this circle of concern. So there's a circle of concern, you know, workplace, you're concerned about what's going on the field with your sport, you're concerned about what's going on in the classroom, you're concerned about what's going on, you know, with all these other things. And but it's not okay to worry about those things. Concern and worry are not the same thing. When we what's in that circle of concern are to attract more things to worry about. And that is going to create our reality. And most people are operating from this place of fear, you know, this false evidence appearing real. You know, they're seeing all this stuff outside, and this person wants me to perform, just wants my, you know, I need their acceptance and their approval. I'm worried, I'm concerned that I need to get the acceptance and the approval from all these other people. I mean, there's nothing to be worried about. You know, you just have to stay focused on what it is that you want and stay focused on your circle of influence, right? You have an influence on, you know, because that's going to apply more pressure to me. And I know that um, and I know that we kind of got sidetracked a little bit with what we wanted to do with this topic because of the technical difficulties. And, you know, so something that we need to work on improving. But let's go ahead, and I would just like to give a couple takeaways with this whole pressure to perform. So we're always going to feel pressure, okay? You're always going to feel pressure to perform in every area of your life. So is embrace the pressure. Pressure is a good thing. It's just, you just have to look at it a different way. You have to change your attitude towards pressure. Like, I like to feel the pressure because I know that if I just sustain motivation through that, so embrace the way when you start to feel pressure, okay? To maintain levels of motivation, to get away from, you know, feeling pressured all the time, and to be able to stay calm, cool, and collective, start to write out what you want on paper and get clear about it. Any takeaways you want to give, Dave, before we move on?
I think just about being in the moment and the awareness. When you feel that panic, when you feel that knot, right? You have to break out of that and have that awareness that how is that feeling serving you in that exact moment? Because whatever it is that's happening is happening. Like you said, the pressure is there regardless. The pressure is going to be there. So what do you do with that in that very moment, right? Take a breath, recognize it, and understand that that feeling of pressure and fear and worry is pointless. Because you have to deal with it one way or the other. So you might as well deal with it with a level head. Obviously, it's easier said than done. It takes a lot of time and practice. And again, it's a process. The mind makeover is a process. But having the awareness, opening up this discussion, making people aware about it, hopefully will start to create the environment where you can recognize it when you feel it, right? After us having talked about it here with you. So with that, we're going to move on to our weekly segments. Michael, yeah, there you are. You were frozen pretty good there for a moment. Okay, so our weekly segments is we have a book of the week pick, and we also have a quote of the week. So we're going to start with the book of the week. We each have a book pick that we're going to show you guys or tell you guys about, and you can add it to your books to read list. Mike and I have chosen that we are not telling each other which books and which quotes we're picking in advance. So it's a surprise to each other as well. So that's a lot of fun too. So I guess I'm going to start this week, if that's all right with you, Mike.
Fella.
So here we go. Book of the week this week. What do you think of that one, Michael? Og Mandino, Greatest Salesman in the World. Have you read that one?
Love it.
Awesome. So what I love about this book and this author, Og Mandino, is genius in my opinion, because this book is not big, okay? It can be a quick read, but the interesting thing is, although you could literally read this in a matter of an hour or two, what it says in here will take you months to go through the process of the instructions that are in this book. The whole point of this book is to create new habits, okay? It is a habit-forming workbook, an exercise book that you work through step by step by step, and like nothing else. So don't, when I say that, don't think it's a workbook where there's going to be lines and exercises and homework and all this stuff. It's nothing like you would imagine. If you haven't read it, you won't get it, okay? So when I read it, and it's up to you. I know some people actually who have read it front to back and done the exercise as they were reading it the first time, meaning it literally took them months to get through the book, because you can't go from, once you get about halfway, you can't move on any further until you do the exercise, which takes a period of time. Now for me, I read the whole book through, and then I went back and I did it again and did the exercises, kind of knowing what was coming. But for me, and it just depends on how you prefer to do it. So once you start reading it, you'll decide that. But highly, highly, highly recommended. I think the biggest takeaway on this is creating new habits is less about breaking bad habits than it is about creating new positive habits. Okay, that's really the lesson in this book. If you have something you want to quit, don't worry about quitting. Instead, form a new habit that is positive. And through the exercise of that, you'll lose the other habits anyway. Does that make sense? So that's the big takeaway from this book, and highly recommend. Og Mandino, greatest salesman in the world. Get it.
Yeah, it's a good book. It's a phenomenal book. I enjoyed reading that myself. The story is phenomenal. It's an easy read, but then yes, you certainly have to do what he's suggesting. Of course, this is a book we talk about almost daily, but being able to hear me again, so that's disappointing. However, I'm going to keep on going on. I have been studying this book by Napoleon Hill for principles of success in it. Now, Napoleon in 1928, he came out with the Law of Success, which was, and from there in 1936, 37-ish, I think it was 30, came out with Think and Grow Rich. And it takes you a few times to actually read this, like cover to cover, several times before you truly start to understand that are within it, that you can start to apply to your life. And like I said, it sits on my little side table that I sit next to all the time, and I reference it all the time. I like to read it.
Can you show us? Can you show us again, Mike?
I'm Think and Grow Rich. So there's certain chapters that I could actually like once a month, just to kind of get those ideas in the persistence, because it takes persistence. I'm just talking right now, acting as if the technology is working fine. A lot of people out there who are mentioning that they can't hear me, like I'm breaking up a lot. So it has me.
You feeling the pressure?
Annoyed with, I can't hear what he's saying. Like so we again have so it's interesting how things work, but
it is what it is, and we just got to move on. So I'm just going to take over and speak more, and they're just going to have to listen to me more. That's all it is. That's all it is for now. Okay.
Well, if they could see my face while you were talking, then they'd be okay.
So you're just going to flap your gums and I'll talk. I'll be your voice. Okay, so let's do some quotes, Mike.
Okay.
All right, I'll start. My turn. All right, here's my quote. It's from a wise old sage of modern times. Are you ready? I think you're going to like this. Okay, so the quote is, I have created a life by stepping out of the box of people's limitations. I call it zigging when others are zagging. Now that is by a very famous and wise woman by the name of Oprah.
Repeat the quote.
All right.
Repeat the quote.
I have created a life by stepping out of the box of people's limitations. I call it zigging when others are zagging. Okay.
I created a life by stepping out of the box.
Stepping out of the box of people's limitations. I call it zigging when others are zagging. So thanks for typing that in there, Mike. So that's by Oprah.
I typed that, but I'm not sure if I.
Create a life by
Aging.
stepping out of the box. Yes, that's perfect. Oh, except for aging. Yeah, not aging, zagging.
I meant to write zagging, but I guess the computer has a little mind of it. So.
It's all good. So the whole point there is, and obviously she's a fantastic modern day example of true success, of, you know, getting past all of the limitations, all of the challenges that she had growing up and doing it anyway, right? Zigging instead of zagging. And you know, it's another person who I admire in one of my businesses always talks about taking a look. So when in any situation, when you're in a room full of people, take a look at what 95% of the people are doing, or even 98%, right? Because usually everybody in any environment, the masses are doing the same thing. So what he says is take a look at the masses and do the opposite. Take a look at those 98% people in the room and ignore them. Don't do what they're doing. Find the 2% of the people that are in there doing something different and follow them, right? That's zigging when everybody else is zagging, as Oprah said in her quote. So that's it. That's my quote of the week.
Well, I am going to try to give my quote, but
I typed it for you, but I can't hear you.
Exactly.
Are you going to type it in there?
Yep, I'll type it.
Oh, I see you fixed that one too. Fantastic. All right, who you want to try to say it first? While you're doing that, you go ahead and type it in. If anybody on the chat room or anybody that's watching live, if you do have any questions, we do like to open up a bit of a Q&A at the end. So if you have something that you want to ask, go ahead and type it in the chat box. And we may get to some of those. At the very least, ooh, I like that one, Michael. At the very least, we might shut this down a little bit early. We usually go an hour, but there's nothing wrong with going a little bit early as well. And then we'll just carry on from there. So I'm going to read your quote, Mike. The ladder of success is never crowded at the top. Tell us your thoughts. Michael, did you want to talk to us about that quote?
To talk about the quote, if you can hear me. Can you hear me right now?
Yep.
Okay. So we'll see if anybody can hear. If not, then, you know, I don't know what to tell you right now. But the ladder of success is never crowded at the top because of that pressure to perform. So when people, you know, a true leader, someone who makes his way to the top, he or she is able to fight through the challenges, the pressure, and lead themselves with confidence, esteem, to get to that top. So it's empty up there because not everybody is willing to fight through the pressure when they feel quit hard. You know, they want to step back into safety. It's safe to stay down here. I don't have to think about it so much trying to get to the top. I don't have to feel this pressure. I can just live this miserable life. It doesn't have to be that way. So I'm just teasing, but it really doesn't have to be that way. You know, we could get to a place that
You froze on us.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah. We could get to a place where.
Oh, is that where I got cut off? We can get to a place.
We can get to a place where.
We can get to a place where we are maybe some pressure. Cutting up again.
I think the message is clear, though. I mean, and we see it time and time again. There's a reason why there's only a few people at the top. There's a reason why, and it's funny, and people talk about the pyramid structure, right? And because that is the top, and it's the ladder is the same thing. The pyramid is the same thing. When you're in a company, there's a CEO, then there's a couple of VPs, then there's a couple of high-end executives, then and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger as you go down in any kind of hierarchical organization. And at the top, guess what? It's lonely. It's lonely at the top. You hear that phrase all the time. And the people who say that are the people who are at the top because they may have a lot of extra freedoms that a lot of other people don't have. And so that's why it's lonely, because they can't share a lot of the stuff that they get to do with a lot of other people who are maybe lower on that ladder, who don't have the same freedom. So they don't have the time or the finances, the ability to do some of the things that the people at the top can do. So what I love is when you have leaders who are at the top and they're dragging, they're reaching down and saying, guys, come on up, right? Come on up to the top because it's lonely up here. We want you guys up here at the top with us because, man, there's a lot of room up here. There's room to move. Don't be stuck in the masses at the bottom. Get up to the top of the ladder of success because there's plenty of room, a lot more fun, a lot more room to play. So does that add to your thoughts there? Or have we lost you for good?
Can you hear me better now? I took my camera off, but I don't know what you're seeing or if you're hearing me clear. Can you hear me clear right now?
I can hear you, yeah.
What are you seeing, like a picture of me or just a blank screen?
Yes,
or
the beautiful profile picture of you.
Hopefully you can hear me clearer now that maybe I took the camera off. If you can't hear me at any time, just let me know. But yeah, you're on the track. You're on the right track. As far as this up top is quiet. We want to make sure that we're focused on doing the things that we want to do to get to the top and go through that pressure and embrace it and enjoy it. And the main thing is love your life. Do what you love what you do, and don't be afraid. So now I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry about that. I had my mic muted. Okay, so it is getting close to the top of the hour. It's 7:50 my time. So maybe let's just give it a quick wrap. And again, guys, thank you for being here through our challenges, through our growth period. The cool thing, Mike, and for you guys that are listening, that are here live and are listening to the replay, a couple of months from now, this is going to be a very different thing. Okay. It's no different than a lot of the stuff that we've just talked about. It's going to be a lot bigger. It's going to look better. It's going to sound better. And there's going to be hundreds of people on the line. And that's what it's going to be like. We're telling you this straight up. There's no question about that. So with that, we're going to wrap it up. And again, ask you to go ahead and send us, feel free to send us emails again about anything. The content is the most important thing, and how it is delivered and how it is received, because our mission, our goal is to just get better and better and better, and to give you guys what it is that you want to see. All right. So that's the most important feedback that we want. Obviously the technology is the technology. We know that feedback. We know that we got to get it right, and we will. So with that, Mike, any closing thoughts? We still can hear you in and out. So if you would like to turn your camera back on and just give us a quick closing thought and goodbye, and then we'll wrap it up.
I don't know if you can hear me or not, if my camera's working or if it's not working or you hear any sound. But again, I'm happy. I'm grateful. I was here, shared what I could, and hopefully they took saying either make it, you success, you fine, great. Well, hopefully they
Way to go.
Hopefully they heard something like that, right?
Way to make it worse. I'm like, oh, he's cutting out, and it's not. Dude, this time.
I thought I'd have a little bit of fun.
Good for you. Yes, and that's all we can do. And you know what? I'll tell you straight up, I was here the whole time, right? Just as you were. And I got a lot out of what you said. So the content and the information was absolutely there. And here's an interesting point, Mike. If you wanted it bad enough, right, you'll get the bits and pieces that you need out of it. And I'm here because I want to be here. Not just because I want to be on TV. I'm here because I want to create value for others, but also I want to learn from us providing this information. And so I'm taking notes and I'm learning from you, and you're learning from me, and we're learning from each other. So I'm getting bits and pieces that I'm really enjoying. And so you've made a difference here tonight. So thank you. I appreciate you. And he's frozen.
Frozen again?
All right. So with that, we're going to wrap it up. So again, thanks, guys. We'll see you on the flip side. Be good, do good always. Good night.